Welcome, everyone, to the August Self-Sufficiency Partner meeting. I'm so glad that you could be here today. I see we have some new folks here as well. So welcome to some of our newer attendees. We're so glad to see you and glad you can be here today. Before we get started, I did want to remind you all and let those of you who are new know that we do record our meetings so that they are available for anybody who can't be here with us today, so they can be in the know as well. So we will get that recording started soon if we haven't yet. And if you haven't had the opportunity, I do want to encourage you to introduce yourself in the chat. We do like to know who all's here, as well as I'm sure some of our attendees like to know who all is here as well. So if you wouldn't mind doing that, we would really appreciate that. Up first today, we have Claire with us, who is our new Director of Self-Sufficiency Programs. And we're so delighted to have her here with us today. I'm going to hand it right over to you, Claire.
Well, thanks, Misha. It's really nice to be here. I'm typically more of a fly on the wall than a speaker because we have so many amazing folks who share their info here instead. But I'm happy to say hey from my new place in the world and share with you just a tiny bit about me and then maybe take some questions if you all have any and give you a couple of updates. I have been with the agency now for just about 4 years exactly. I came to ODHS from OHCS, the housing agency, where I oversaw a lot of the anti-poverty work over there, and that was a real pleasure. But I'm particularly happy to be at ODHS right now, and especially with SSP, because it's kind of an amazing time to be with SSP. You know, we all have had to acknowledge that change is just the norm, right? So I won't go into all of that, but a couple of really key things have happened that I think give SSP an amazing opportunity going forward. And one of them is that we have the amazing Oregon Eligibility Partnership standing up on its own, which will be managing all of the eligibility work, as you all probably know well, which changes the shape of SSP as a program area for the agency. We also have had the very successful launch of the Department of Early Learning and Care, and with that came the transition of our employment-related daycare program over to those really capable folks. And so that also too has impacted the look and shape of SSP and the folks that are on our team. So I think what those two things do is that it really allows us to lean in new ways, more important ways, maybe about working with our families a little differently. And I would say that there are two things that I'm particularly looking forward to. One is that our internal collaboration with our partners in child welfare, our partners in APD, our partners across VR and IDD and ODDS are just better than ever. And I think one of the really great things from my perspective is that all of the directors now, especially with April Flint-Gerner becoming the director as well, we all just like each other a lot and we get along and we're all committed to the same sorts of goals and approaches and spirit, and we're committed to transparency and all the things, and it's been really nice. We also have been really working with our Tribal Affairs Office. I see Adam's on the call, to really just try to enrich and deepen our connections and our listening and our learnings from tribes across the state of Oregon. And that's particularly exciting to me. And then I guess lastly, what I would say is that I also think that from my point of view, we can always do more to hear from partners and to engage partners in real ways, authentic ways. And by that, I mean all of you on this call. So I would just offer up that we're going to be looking for ways to engage you outside of this meeting that maybe we've never tried before. So just get ready. It's going to be a focus of mine and a part of my leadership philosophy to do more outreach, more site visits, more participatory collaboration together as we look at new ways of SSP sort of standing up its ideas and its values. So I'm excited about that. I also, I guess, want to share with you that, we have been working in the anti-poverty space for a long time. By definition, it's what we do. But really, our vision for that work is only as effective as the action we put into practice. So I wanted to share with you just really sort of high level today, and you'll have more opportunity to engage in this one, but just wanted to let you know that we have begun some work that we're calling Vision into Action. And we're going to be doing some strategic thinking with partners, community, and our staff around how we do our work going forward. It's guided by our Vision into Action document, and we'll be sharing that all out. But really, we're going to need your help as we put the action guides together. So we want to get really specific about what are all the things that we can do internally and externally to help move the dial on poverty and to support the families in the ways they need to be supported. So we're really excited to kick that off. And I see Patty Unfred is on the call today. She is our point person for this initiative. So just get ready to hear from her as we move down the road, thinking about how we put this vision into action. I'm very excited about that. I guess maybe one other thing I just wanted to say officially is that I hope you all got the invitations to the community listening sessions that April and I are doing together. We've got 3 different sessions set up. You all should have gotten an email about it from Misha or from the listserv, I think. But basically we've got an in-person one on Monday night. We've got 2 virtual sessions. We'd love to have you RSVP if you can, just so that we have an idea who's coming. There are ways to submit questions ahead of time, and I would really love to hear from you, love to see you, love to talk to anybody else that you want to share the information with too. So just wanted to make a personal invite to you all to participate with April and me on these listening sessions. I think it'll be a great time for us to hear what you expect from us as leaders. I think that part of the dialogue goal that I have is that it's a lot less me talking at you and a lot more you talking at me overall, because I just don't know what I don't know. And so the more we can sit down and talk together and I can hear what's going on for you, I think the better I'll be as a director in this chair for the agency and for SSP in general. I don't know, did we end up, is Dwight here today, Misha? Do you know?
I have not seen him enter.
Okay. Well, I will just give you sort of the teaser then, that the last update I really wanted to share with you is that we're really feeling lucky to have a brand new service equity manager. His name is Dwight Palmer. He works for OEMS, our Office of Equity and Multicultural Services, but he's hand in glove with SSP. So he's our guy, our Dwight, and the work that he's going to be doing, I think, sort of leading with our Equity North Star work, all of our diversity, belonging work, is going to be enhanced by having this dedicated person helping SSP just continue the work we're already doing, and then probably expand, how we're doing it. And that's probably going to be another place where you will see some opportunities to connect with us, maybe in a way that we haven't had in the past. So Dwight will be here next time, and I'm sure we'll have some really good things to share with you all. So I think that's really what I had for today. Just a quick hi, how are you? I'm here, I'm ready. And I'm, we've got these sessions coming up, but if anybody's got anything you want to talk about right now, I'm really interested in answering questions or hearing your thoughts.
Or did you want to, we're ahead of schedule. Did you want to open up to um, any questions in the moment?
Absolutely. Yep, I'm here. I'm ready. Yeah.
Does anybody have anything they'd like to say? Feel free to come off mute or raise your hand, wherever your comfort is, or you can put it into chat.
And maybe while we're giving everybody a chance, just real fast, I am really good at IMs. If you want to message me, email me, I'm a little slower on the emails, just, volume and all that. I know we all live in that world. But I'm happy to have you just reach out to me directly too. So
I see Jean had her hand up. She raised her actual real hand.
Hi, Jean.
Yeah. Hi, Claire. We've worked together for several years. I'm working for the McKenzie region that was devastated by fire in 2020. But as we know, it takes a while to recover. And I just wondered what's your vision on serving and working with rural communities and areas?
Well, that's a really great question, Jean. I think that there are a couple of thoughts that come to my mind. It reminds me that I'm going to be out and about in many rural communities in the next few months, and then I'll probably skip a little bit of winter, and then I'll be coming back out again just to do some hands-on sort of listening sessions and just kind of hanging out, shadowing a little bit, trying to understand a little bit more than I do about rural needs and all of that. But I would also just share with you that I think one of the things that we've learned, especially with our agency emphasis on emergency management, is that the programs that fall underneath SSP, whether it's SNAP benefits replacement or whatever, they used to be sort of dusty, right? I mean, we weren't really ready to use them like that. And I think the commitment to resilience, to be able to serve, especially the more rural parts of the state when something devastating happens, is something that we are way more on top of than we have been and will continue to do and work on through our OREM partnership, the emergency management folks. And I think the other thing is that I will just say that we are beginning to do a lot of analysis about sort of what's missing. And I can particularly call out the work that we're doing with the refugee programs. We know that, for example, housing is the #1 challenge that we're facing really with the folks we're welcoming to Oregon. And we just can't continue to not look in other communities for resources for these families who need it, because there just isn't housing left in Metro that they can afford, those sorts of things. So now we're working with some of our more rural communities to see how could we invest in community-based organizations to begin to provide a more comprehensive service array to fill in some of the gaps. And it's top of mind because the other role that I play that some of you may or may not know is that I'm the state refugee coordinator for Oregon, even still in this new role. And so just trying to figure out how to target investments is really important to us. And I think the rural communities is where we know we've got gaps. So we have some new opportunities, some foundation funding, some new federal funding that we're starting to look at a little differently. So probably a lot more conversation to have around that issue.
Thank you, Claire. And that I'm pleased to hear that. And I welcome you to visit, and I can arrange for you to visit. We have transformed a center for families and children to serve them. And at any time you'd like to visit and meet some of the people in the region, just as you plan to reach out, I can arrange for that.
Okay, Jean, you will be hearing from me soon.
Okay, Claire.
Yeah.
Okay. All the best.
Yeah, good. Thank you for the offer. Appreciate it.
I think Susan might be our next question. Susan?
Thank you. So I recently learned that there is state funding in House Bill 3395 for support for community college students and housing. What more can you tell us about that? Because I'm all ears.
Wow, I very exciting award for sure. And I will tell you that I think we still don't know exactly what the plan is 100%. At least I don't, I'll be honest. So let me get with my youth experiencing homelessness program manager and get you an answer about that. And we'll circulate it to everybody. I think there's still some conversation about exactly how the money's going to roll. So I will get back to you about eligibility and process. Maybe probably not this week, but next week I could probably get you at least an update. And it still may not be figured out by then, but I can at least sort of tell you what we know.
Great, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Yeah, exciting investment for sure.
And Michael, I know you had your hand up earlier, but it got dropped. Did you still have a question?
I was just going to go ahead and I was going to direct message Claire instead.
Okay. And then I don't want to say your name wrong. Is it Muse? Feel free to come off mute. Can't find it. Bottom left-hand side, there should be a little microphone for you, hopefully. Or on your phone, sometimes if you tap your phone.
Okay, can you hear me now?
There you
we
go.
Can you hear me now?
Got it.
Okay, thank you very much. Well, first and foremost, I'd like to welcome Ms. Sequin. I hope I'm saying the right way. That the opportunity to meet with every community, because not everyone is at the table, not everyone has a voice. And I would like to take advantage of the opportunity to hear our side of I've been serving the refugee community since 1992, February 1992, when the first Somali refugees came to the state of Oregon, and still involved and also working with the newcomers as well as of today. So I would like to learn more. We'd like to have the opportunity to talk and learn about us, and I'd like to welcome you in any
That would be great.
possibility that you
I would
would
love
like for us.
to sit down with you. Have you been coming to the quarterly meetings and some of the other meeting opportunities that the refugee program has already going on?
Yeah, we've been doing.
That's-
I've been
okay.
doing it recently, and I actually
what I
brought
thought,
some
okay.
issues that would actually create separate meetings as well to
Okay.
kind of deal with that. So I kind of have a unique perspective of different view of the refugee community that we serve. So I would like to welcome and help add up to your understanding of refugee communities.
Great. I would,
Thank
yeah,
you.
I would love to do that. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to put my calendar guru's name and email in the chat so that we can work on scheduling a couple of meetings.
Thank you.
That'd
Thank
be
you very
great.
much.
Mhm.
It does look like we have a few more minutes if anybody else has something. Julie, did I see your hand?
My colleague had a question. I know that in May, there was another round of Oregon Trail funds for kids that were on free and reduced lunch. And she said she heard from a client that one of their kids got it, but the other two didn't. And so I wondered if there's any way, is there some way they're picking that, how they're choosing, in case other parents ask me, why one kid got it and the other didn't.
That is a very complicated question, Julie, and there could be multiple answers. What I would be happy to do is to have you reach out to me, and we will figure it out for that particular scenario and get you kind of the general information, if that would be helpful.
That would be great. Could I,
Okay.
would you put your email in the chat?
Yeah, I sure will. Yep.
Thank you.
You bet.
Do we have anybody from SNAP policy here by chance? Because they might be able to reach out to you, Julie, directly as well.
That would be awesome.
Hey,
Did you put, oh,
yeah, this is Lucy. I
hey, Lucy.
Yeah, I'll put my email in the chat.
Okay,
Thank
thank you.
All right, one more. We've got time for one more probably. Anybody else have a question or something they'd like to say? No.
I don't mean,
Oh.
Misha, this is Saida. I don't mean to put
Hi.
Lucy on the spot, but I wonder if she'd be willing to do just like a very general. I know that there is like a general response. There is like a age limit. They had to be enrolled in school. Like there are some parameters that we could share for the SNAP cases.
As not the PEBT coordinator.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Yeah, I can put we do have a website that goes into a lot of our FAQs and that talks about eligibility and kind of the general, like, how do I know if my kid's eligible? And that might help answer some questions about maybe 2 of the kids were in a school that was automatically eligible, that kind of thing. So I can put that in the chat also, but I don't want to speak for the program that I don't coordinate.
We have had some PEBT updates in our past partner meetings, so I can include some of that information in our follow-up. For those of you who may have questions around that, I'd be happy to do that. And then, yes, the PEBT page is in our chat, so you can click on that for more information as well.
Thanks, Misha.
All right. Well, I think we're probably okay to move on unless you'd like to say any last few words, Claire.
No, thanks for inviting me, and I'll be here to the end if anybody has a question that pops up.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And if you didn't notice it, James did put in the chat some information about the listening sessions, including the registration link, so that you can attend those if you'd like to do so. All right. Up next, we actually have Refugee Services here to talk to us more about our refugee program. So is Sohail here?
Hi, good afternoon, everyone.
Hello.
So I'm just gonna try and keep this brief and give a little bit overview of who the refugee program is and what services we provide and who we work with. So first of all, let me cover who we serve. I know the name suggests that we only work with refugees, but there's a large group of ORR eligible populations. ORR is the Office of Refugee Resettlement, is our federal partner, and they basically define eligibility for our program. So we work with refugees, people whose asylum has been granted, Cuban and Haitian entrants, the victims of human trafficking, Iraqi and Afghan special immigrant visa holders. And then recently we have had an additional group of Afghan humanitarian parolees who came here through the Operation Allies Welcome, Ukrainian humanitarian parolees after the war in Ukraine. And then there was a special category of SQSI parolees, but that would be, we wouldn't be wrong if we didn't call it a subset of the SIVs, because those were people who were in the SIV process and they were just paroled here because it was quicker. So those are the populations that we work with, and sometimes the eligibility requirements are can be a little bit complicated, but most of the time it's pretty simple. If you're one of those, or part of one of those populations, then you will be eligible for refugee services under the SSP's refugee program. The type of services that we administer at SSP is the refugee cash benefits, which is basically cash assistance for anybody who is not covered under TANF, refugee medical assistance, that would be medical insurance for people who are not covered under the general medical insurance programs that that OHA administers, so Medicaid, CHIP, and any other program. And then we have the refugee employment services, which is a requirement of participating in the cash assistance program. So if you're getting refugee cash, then you would have to do some employment activities. Those are the programs that we administer through SSP. And then we also do a lot of contracting with resettlement agencies and CBOs who are our partners, and they help us make sure that we provide more wraparound services to refugees, and we can help them in other areas as well. And some of the areas that we have programming in is pre-employment training, so ESL classes, re-credentialing, that sort of thing. The Refugee Children Assistance Services, which helps kids enroll in school, school-age children, and then also we have a summer program through that. We have Refugee Senior Services for anybody who is above the age of 65, some youth mentoring programs, extended case management. That is for individuals who, after they come here and they're past that resettlement period, we are still able to support them if they're in need of it. And then we recently started providing some services for Ukrainians, specifically with the Afghan arrivals. We did provide Afghan-specific services. And then generally, we do statewide coordination and then national coordination. That would be our state refugee coordinator, Claire, who spoke earlier. So that's just a basic overview of what the refugee program does. Like I said, we do partner with resettlement agencies and we have some contracts through them, but they also have contracts with the Office of, with PRM to do actual refugee resettlement in the state of Oregon. And we have 6 resettlement agencies working to who are part of the national resettlement agencies, their affiliates in our state. So we have Lutheran, Catholic Charities, Ecumenical Ministries of Oregon through their SOAR program, Salem for Refugees, ERCO, and then Catholic Community Services of Lane County. So we do partner with a lot of community-based organizations, and then we also work with the resettlement agencies. I hope that wasn't a lot of information all crammed into a very short amount of time, but if you have any questions, I'm here.
Does anybody have any questions today? I did put the link in for our page that details some more of what Sohail was talking about. All right, I think we're good then. Thank you so much for presenting today. And Miguel, are you on?
Hello, good afternoon. Yes,
Hello.
Miguel Mendez, the lead policy analyst for the TANF team. I have a couple of quick, exciting updates. One update that we are super excited about actually took effect in our administrative rule last month, and that is for individuals who are eligible to engage in our employment and training program. We are now able to offer a new support services for eyeglasses. As a staff had let us know that that's a very much needed consideration for many folks who are trying to improve and get into education or the workforce, whatever it may be. This was a type that was not allowable before due to some federal guidance, but after over a year of going back and forth with our federal partners, we were able to make the case that eyeglasses is really just a tool to help better one's life. So super excited about that. The rule changed last month. The one system will be updated next week, which is exciting. The other update is just to let everyone know that next week should be on the 15th, might be before or after one day, but everybody on the TANF caseload who was on the caseload for the month of June, so it was about 20,058 families, will be receiving another clothing allowance payment in the amount of $270. And so we are super excited about that. Notice should be going out here soon. And yeah, that is it. Any questions?
Was that 270 per family?
Yes, that's correct. Yep.
Not per child?
Not per child, per family.
Okay. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Miguel. So we are doing great today. We are a little ahead of schedule. James, there was something you were hoping to talk to everybody about today, but I couldn't get you scheduled in. Do you want to take a moment now? I know I'm putting you on the spot, but I'm opening it up for you if you'd
That
like.
is totally putting me on the spot, but I think let me just give a preview that it's been mentioned before. I think this is what I was thinking about before, that the one online, well, the one mobile app is up and running. It's going well. We haven't done our communications push yet because there was a bug last month and I think it got worked out. But it will be coming soon. But part of the reason I bring it up is last week I was in a Beaverton self-sufficiency office, and we were with some community partners pulling people from the lines saying, hey, do you want to open a one account? And we were doing it more often than not on their mobile app. And it's easy to find in Apple and Android store. And I will say that you can't do a full application on the mobile app yet, maybe someday. But the big thing often for people, if you're going to use the one interface technology, is just opening the damn account. And it can be tricky. And so, but if you don't have a credit history, if you don't have a lot of, if you're a young person or something like that, it can be pretty difficult. So there's, and I'll make sure it goes out in the notes. There's a guide that can help you walk through that process. But it's, once you get the account, then people, I was just shocked how, if people have a smartphone, and that's how most people interact with the internet is over their smartphone nowadays, is, you can check to see when if you have a request for information that what's needed. You can see when you're going to have to get renewed, go through the renewal process. You can see what your SNAP grant is, things like that. It makes it's just like any other business where they want you to have an app, except we're not tracking you like those businesses do. But it's something that people are more and more used to. So I would encourage you, as you work with your clients, as you work with people who are on benefits, to take a look at the app, get used to it. We're going to have materials in the next few weeks, and after seeing it in action, I'm pretty excited about it. And if I think of something else that I was going to say, I'll see if we have time for that too.
Thanks, James. I thought I'd throw out as well, it's handy to have it at your fingertips if you're out and about and you need to verify that you're on benefits to qualify for some community resource. You can pull up the mobile app and show that you have current benefits right then and there. You don't have to go to the local office and get a letter. You've got it right at your fingertips. So that's handy as well, I would say. So before I go on to our last agenda item, does anybody have any questions that they would like answered before we jump into this last piece? All right. Well then, the last item on our agenda is the partner meeting survey evaluation. So as Claire was talking earlier about just this incredible transformation that we are going through in self-sufficiency, there's been lots of discussions about how best to communicate with partners, and specifically this partner call and what might work best. And, we really wanted to come back to you. What are your needs? What would you like to see out of this meeting? What's most helpful? What things do you like about the meeting, and maybe what things do you want a little bit different? So we have put together a survey. I work with James, and it's mostly multiple choice. It's a very quick survey, less than 5 minutes, but will really capture a lot of little things and help us to really make this meeting and partner communications what you need it to be. And so I'm going to put that link into the chat in just a moment. I do want to encourage everybody on the call to take this I know we have some ODHS folks on the call, as well as community partners. Really do want to encourage everybody, and we can divide up the data accordingly so that we know what's internal feedback versus the external feedback, and we really want to hear from everyone. So do encourage you to take this survey, and knowing how busy you all are, we really wanted to give you time during this meeting to take the survey so that you're not trying to make time for it later. So that's why we're bringing it up in the last 10 minutes or so of this meeting so that you can take it. And it will go out on the listserv today. It usually takes us about a week to get our follow-up all put together from the meeting. And so that won't come until next week per usual. But I will get this link out today so that anybody who is not at the meeting but is on our listserv can take the survey. And if there's somebody you feel needs to take the survey who may not be on our listserv, but they're an important partner, forward it to them. Totally cool. We want to hear your thoughts. So let me put the link into chat for you. You will probably need to copy it into your web browser. Oh, nope, it showed up as a link, so that's good. All right, so you should be able to click on it and go right over to it. So with that, I think I'm going to close our meeting out a little bit early because we don't need to stare at you while you're taking a survey. That's